Namaste and a very warm good morning to all of you, the ones of you who are physically present right now, and the ones that will be seeing this recording later. As you can see, I'm outside this morning. It turns out that my small modem in the yoga hall was not working, so I've transferred myself quickly up to the terrace. And yes, it is very sunny here, but it's not very warm. Hopefully the sun will heat me up very soon. So yeah, I just wanted to explain that because I'm not just here just to make those of you who are inside jealous, but I hope that this lovely bright rays and the fresh air from the mountain can somehow be transmitted to you through the screen. This is my hope and my desire for you all. So I hope you're feeling well. I know that Jorge said that he's got a little bit of back pain, so just be very gentle if you do have any limitations this morning, and let's enjoy this practice together. As you know, this second class is very much related to the second chakra. So just before we start moving, let's just have a very brief introduction to what this is all about. If we want to localize this chakra, we can say it's approximately at the level of the pubic bone in the front. You can actually just press with your hand the pubic bone just to bring some awareness there. And if you transfer the other hand to your sacrum, and somehow you kind of imagine that you're really kind of finding the same transversal line, we can say that this is the main kind of like channel that we're going to be working on when we connect with this chakra. So yeah, you can maybe just press slightly at the back and at the front, close your eyes, feel the space. Then you release your hands and keep on feeling this space, somehow imagining there's a line joining the front and the back of the body. And as you breathe in this space, just really connecting into the space between these 2 points. Yeah, so we're not going very deeply into the theory. This would require, a lot longer, but we can say that the chakra has 2 important focal points. At the front of the body is like the flowering of this energy, the expression, and how it's very much related to our communication and relation with the outside world. But at the back, when we connect with the chakras at the back, it's connected to the main central column, which is somehow protected by the spinal column or related to the spinal column. So it's kind of like the root. It's much more internal, much more subtle, and at some point more powerful, because it's like the root of that energy. So we're going to be connecting with this. And a more a psychic point of view, we could say that it's very much related to our relationships, not only relationships with other people, but also relationships with our environment. It's a very emotive area. It's related to sexuality, of course, but not only to sexuality in the sexual act, but also in the area of pleasure. Yeah, this ability to actually kind of like really connect fully with everything which gives us pleasure. And in fact, if we do connect with everything, everything can potentially give us pleasure. So we could say, when I'm eating, if I really am fully there, then this act of just kind of feeling the food and the texture and the taste and the salivating in my mouth, this is what we're talking about when we're related to this chakra. So you might say, well, one thing's in the mouth, the other thing's down here, almost a genital area, but actually each chakra is related to an organ of action. So when we looked at the first chakra, we could say the organ of action, I think we mentioned it was the nose, curiously enough, and we related it with the dog, which is kind of this very earthy animal in that sense, and the long trunk of the elephant. But here we're talking about the tongue. The tongue is the organ which is related to this chakra. So we can see there that this pleasure also is related, also the element of water. We need that wateriness in our mouth to actually come into this juiciness, this enjoyment, this pleasure. So this is very much related to our second chakra today. And the tongue is also a sexual organ, not only because it's used, for example, in kissing, but also because it's a related somehow to our genitals. So we could say that the tongue is somehow an expression or a mirror of the penis or of the clitoris, okay? And at the same point, the reason I'm mentioning this is because the jaw, which gets very tight when we're kind of tense, is also very much related to the opening of the pelvis. For example, a woman who is giving birth in an ideal situation is encouraged to kind of open the mouth, release, even shout, because this opening here also opens the pelvis. So we can already see that if a lot of us have got tension in the mouth and we're not really getting into this juicy enjoyment, we can also really suppose that our pelvic area has also got quite stuck and closed and is limiting our opportunity to flow, because this energy is to do with water, it's to do with this very, very flowy movement. And this flowy movement, when it's stopped or it's somehow inhibited, also affects our ability to flow in relationships, to flow in life, and also connect with our creative potential. So we can talk about the creative potential being related to the principle of creation, which is reproduction, as this kind of, you know, growth. So taking it out of the sexual context, we can just say that this area is related to all of our creative potential, which can be expressed in multiple ways. So what we would like to do in this short period that we're together this morning is to somehow get the hips moving and come into this connection with this fluidity, so that we can really open up to pleasure, because pleasure is one of the basic principles which allows us to be happy and motivated. And from there, we can really have this image and this idea of the river, which is also this letting go of anything which is in the past or which is kind of retaining, and allowing us to just come into this present moment. The river doesn't think about, you know, staying where it is. The river just keeps on flowing. And so if we think about this on a psychological level, and really relating it into this particular moment that we are living, wouldn't that just be wonderful if we could just kind of let go of any kind of anything which is retaining us or making us somehow stagnant, and just allowing us to trust and in this flow of life, and really just let fears also go, because fear is something which is related to this area of the body, not this kind of very kind of animal fear that we saw in the first chakra, but there's also fear very much related to our environment, what others maybe think of us, this very kind of social projection. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff. It's an interesting chakra. So let's get down and do this practice together. Enjoy this practice together. I've just heard that my mobile has made a bit of a bling, so I'm going to just make sure it's switched off. And I've got my my microphone, so you should be able to hear me well. And if you're lucky, maybe you can even hear a bird or two as well. Okay, so let's get ready. So I'm just going to have to get my dog out of the way. Okay. Good. So we're going to begin the class this morning standing up. And you can separate your feet and just find a really comfortable position. You can turn your feet outwards, and you can bend your knees. And just, we don't want any stagnant or still posture here. We just want to really feel that we're moving, transferring our weight from one foot to the other and really finding what is this, the separation which is good between my feet in this moment. And as you have this movement, I'd just like you to really relax the rest of the body. Yeah, and find this kind of bending that's good for you. And just be aware of what the hips are doing. Don't try and tuck the tailbone under, but also make sure you're not creating an excessive curve in the lumbar area. Yeah. And then just find a steady space, somewhere that you can really just be comfortable. And we're going to bring the hands down towards the lower belly. If you want, you can also trace a triangle, an inverted triangle with your hands. Straighten up your spine, coming to a slightly stiller space now, but you can still move a little bit if you need. Straighten up the spine, lift up the energy also to the top of the head, and just really come into a space of honoring this practice that we're sharing. Release any tension in the tongue. Just see, where is the tongue in this moment? And I just encourage you to just let it lie in the floor of your mouth, which is somewhere where it's not usually, but as you just relax the tongue, just really feel how the pelvic floor and the genital area can also relax and open. Deepen your breath. And as you breathe in deeply, you can feel that the lower belly expands, but also that the pelvic floor pushes slightly downwards and the sacrum kind of lifts up behind, really expanding the pelvis. And as you breathe out, just feel this kind of contraction point in towards the center of the pelvis. And we're going to just help with that. So as you breathe out now, just draw the lower belly in and suck up the pelvic floor. Just exaggerate this and begin to feel the movement coming into the lower part of the pelvis, using the muscles in this area without tensing the jaw and the tongue. One more breath. Good. And now you can lift up the arms towards the sides. And you can close your eyes. If I could, I would put some music on, but I'm a bit worried about the quality, how you'll listen to it. So we're just going to really just imagine that we're listening to the water. And just begin to move your body, move your hips above all, with a very slow breath. Just bring some very spontaneous movement into the hips. And don't worry, about the self-image, what it looks like. Just really get into this flowy, open, free movement in the hips. You might say, well, I don't really feel like I'm doing yoga. But yoga is not only about static postures. So really just get into the movement in the hips. And make sure you can either come into a breath which is through the mouth now. And if you want to move your arms a little bit as well, you can. But the emphasis is in the movement of the hips, and try not to get into a repetitive movement, always going in the same direction. Just really spontaneously. And you can feel the hips. Good. A couple more deep breaths. Coming into this fluidity, and just begin to slow down a little bit more. Much more slow movements. Bring the hands back down. Straighten out the legs. come back with your feet into a more comfortable separation. Keep your eyes closed, take a breath, and just be aware of the effects. Feel your way into the pelvic area and just welcome any sensations, any feelings or emotions even, and just honor this part of your body. Great. So we're going to continue now by coming down onto our hands and knees. You can use a blanket under your knees just to be as comfortable as possible. And just spread your weight between your hands and your knees. And once again, bring the attention in towards the hip area. And we're going to begin by mobilizing the hip in what we call the posture of the cat. So the cat is obviously a very sensual, soft creature. So it's very much related to this energy. So you can begin to arch the spine, lifting the head, opening the mouth. And then you can round the back, really stretching the back out and open, dropping the pelvis. And move between these two postures in a very conscious way, but really see that you're initiating the movement from the hips, from the pelvis. So the rest of the trunk and the head moves in a delay. The movement is coming from the pelvis, and it's not always this way. We could do the same movement, concentrating our attention in a different part of the spine. So we're just going to connect really into the pelvis, bringing this flexibility, this undulating feel into the body. And that's enough now. Just sit back onto your heels if that's comfortable for you. Keep your hands facing down on your knees and just breathe and observe what's coming for you in this moment. Good. Stimulating a little bit more this area. Be careful if you do have some lower back pain. We're going to do a posture. We're going to first do it in a movement and then we'll sustain it, which is called Viagra Asana. So we all know what Viagra is, but in Sanskrit, this word is coming from Sanskrit. It means the tiger. So it's a powerful energy, and apparently they in some cultures, I think in China also, they use some kind of something from a gland of the tiger as an aphrodisiac. So we can see it's really working on this particular area. So in this posture, in this movement initially, we're going to join the knees and we're going to bring the left knee in towards the chest, dropping the head as well. And then we're going to throw the leg upwards. If you've got lower back problems, don't lift the leg too much. Lifting the gaze also. Breathe out, bringing the knee in towards the chest. Breathing in, lifting up. Stimulating the left side of the pelvis. And specifically this energy related to the reproductive system. Maybe you can connect with your left ovary or your left testicle, stimulating the receptive aspect. Coordinate with your breath, find your own rhythm. On the next one, keep the legs straight out. Hold the posture. Make sure you haven't lifted the left hip. Keep the hips at the same height. And from there you can bend the left leg. Keep your eyes open to keep you stable. Maybe that's enough for you, but if your body is available for increasing the posture, you can grab the foot with the right hand and just lift up even more. Breathing into the left side of the hip. Very concentrated. Breathing from the lower belly. And that's enough. You can bring the knee down and just sit back. You bring your arms towards the sides, forehead to the ground, and just release any accumulated tension through the mouth. Slowly sit up and just continue observing, rooting your awareness in towards the pelvis. And maybe you can just compare the sensations that arise for you in the left side and the right side of this space, just to create a greater sensibility, a greater sensitivity. Wonderful. So let's repeat on the other side, just to be very careful so you don't go beyond your capacities in this moment. Hands and knees on the ground, knees together. And you can breathe in, bringing the knee in towards the chest, breathing out, lifting the right leg, and finding a rhythm which is conducive to the stimulation of this space. Bringing some energy in there. Sustain the leg out, making sure you don't lift excessively the right hip. Breathe. Bend the leg. And if you have enough stability, grab onto the foot, lifting a little bit higher. All of the awareness into the right side of the pelvis, breathing into this space, honoring this creative potential within you. That's enough. Slowly release. Sit back, arms to the sides. Release through the mouth. And once you've released the back, you can come back to a sitting position, hands facing down. Breathing into the pelvic space, being aware of the effects on the right side. And you can separate your knees slightly. And once again, bring the hands down towards the lower abdomen with this triangular shape, Yoni Mudra. And just balance out the energy on both of sides. Honoring this creative energy, which is there regardless of our age, regardless of our physiology. Working through from the physical to the subtle realms within us. Good. Okay, so you can lie down now on your front. You might like to just leave that blanket down so it's underneath the hips. That's an option. And you can place now the chin on the ground and the arms towards the sides. If you have the blanket, you could even slip the hands underneath the blanket so they're touching the mat. Stretch out the legs. And we're going to lift the left leg slightly. The palms push into the ground. Finding ourselves in what we call Ardha Shalabhasana. And in this pose, just want you to sustain it and feel that you're receiving cosmic energy flowing through the sole of the foot, up the leg, up towards the left side of the pelvis again, but really kind of bringing some strength also into this lower back in the left side. And we're really working on a hormonal level. You can feel that this opening of the neck is helping us to balance out these glands. Really connecting with the endocrine system and the production, the healthy production of these secretions within the body. That's enough. Drop the leg gently. You can move your head towards the right side, palms facing upwards, and again release any tension that you've accumulated through the mouth. Fully relax. And we're going to repeat on the other side. Place your chin on the ground, palms facing downwards. Activate both of your legs, feeling how the pubic bone is already rooting into the ground. Breathing in, lift up the right leg, pressing the hands into the ground. I'm visualizing the absorption of cosmic flow of energy through the sole of the right foot, up and towards the pelvis area. At the same time, recognizing the importance of this opening of the throat. Be aware of the breath. And slowly lower the leg. Turn the head towards the left side. Palms facing upwards, heels dropping outwards. Release. And just breathe into the sensations that arise. honoring this space of rest for integration. And you can place your hands one on top of the other and the chin on top as a way of connecting with the animal archetype of this posture, of this chakra, which is the crocodile. So you can just, in this position, which is called Makarasana, the posture of the crocodile, you can just really imagine that the bottom side of your body is immersed in the water, in the shallow water. The body is very still. And that this bottom side, this watery side is underneath. So it's kind of somehow related to the subconscious mind, to any repressed emotions, anything that we hide even from ourselves or hide from society. Just really connect with that, with this kind of disposition to become aware of it and to somehow embrace whatever is down there, including our fears, frustrations. And the back side of the body, which is exposed, it's above the water, is related to more this conscious world in this moment. So we're just going to really bring these together, the conscious and the subconscious, the evident and the hidden, what we show to the world and what we hide, just in a space of clear reflection and compassion for ourselves. Good, bring the awareness finally back down into the second chakra, to Swadhisthana. You can feel the lower belly, the pubic bone in contact with the earth. And just really releasing. Good. So you can use your hands to push up and to sit back onto your knees again. Fold the blanket. Probably going to need it for this next position. And this next position, we're going to really be opening up the hip. So just go very carefully, just to honor your body's needs in this moment. So in this posture, we're going to, maybe you want to have a look at it first. We're going to be starting on all fours. And from there, we're going to push up into our sacred mountain, which we saw last time. And then we're going to bring the right knee between our hands. And this is where we might want to slip the blanket underneath the right buttocks just to feel more comfortable in this position, which is really opening the left groin area as well as working on the hips. So if you don't need that blanket, you might be able to drop that right hip down towards the ground for the posture. So just really work carefully and without forcing. So let's go back into that together. Come up into hands and knees. Take a nice deep breath, and as you breathe out, separate the knees, coming up into Parvatasana, the mountain. Then lift up your gaze as you breathe in, come back forward, bringing the right knee down towards the ground. The left knee balances you as well. And you can put the fingertips on the ground. If you need to, place folded blanket underneath the right hip and just ease yourself into the posture. Place the palms of the hands on towards the ground. And we're going to very slowly walk the hands forward, just as far as you feel you can sustain comfortably. Some of you who've got a greater flexibility or ability in this part of your body can even come all the way down. And we're just going to breathe into the posture. Breathe into the hips. And on the one hand, we're really kind of pressing down into the right hip. So you can just consciously, as you breathe out, release this kind of tension which is wrapped around the hip, releasing the muscles and the tendons in this area. But you can also transfer your attention in towards the left foot, this lightness, the energy which is coming in, this very contrasting energy through the left leg. And you can feel this contrast between the left and the right, this opening and this contraction, as if there was this quality of the yin and the yang in your hips in this moment. Good. Press up with your hands to come up. And if it's possible for you, you can lift the chest to the gaze at the end. And only the advanced students can bend the left leg and hold on to the left foot, only if the body is able to, without forcing. It's not for everybody. And you don't have to get there. It's just for those who are able to. Good. To come out of the pose, put your hands flat onto the ground, push from the hands, come back up to your mountain and walk on the spot, integrating the hip in this very organic walking movement. And then sit down on your knees, palms facing downwards. Release, breathe, observe, and just welcoming anything that's coming up. Knowing that this posture, which goes very deeply into the hip, is also really connecting with this much more subconscious aspect, the dream state aspect of this chakra. Great. Let's move on to the other leg now. Hands on the ground, breathe in. As you breathe out, push up into your mountain. Lift up the gaze, breathe in, come forward, bringing the left leg between your hands, the left knee, and take a few moments to really just to see where the good position for you is in this moment, using your folded blanket like a wedge underneath the left buttock if necessary. And then you can move forward with your hands, bringing the chest down towards the ground, finding a comfortable position for yourself. Eyes closed, breathing. Remember not to tighten your jaws, not to clench your teeth, quite the opposite. If need be, you can also even wet your lips and really kind of release, mirroring the jaw with the hip. And you can even, if it's intense for you, breathe more deeply through the mouth. On each out breath, just let go. Just see what you're holding in onto and have the trust to just let go and drop even more deeply into this pose. And be aware also of the energy in the right leg, the contrast between the contraction on one side and the opening expansion, the lightness and the darkness, the weight and the weightlessness. And that's enough for today. You can use your hands to press upwards, place the palms firmly on the ground so that you can come back into your mountain pose, walk on the spot, mobilizing and integrating this posture into the hips. And then sit down onto your knees, or if your knees are delicate, into another posture, just to come into a space of awareness, of observation. Good. So we're going to lie down now. You might need some extra props, so you might need some cushions, because what I suggest for this is that we lie down on our backs and we join the soles of the feet. So you might want to have a folded cushion under each one of your knees just to feel that the legs are supported somehow so that you can sustain this posture. And then we're going to join the palms of the hands and place them above our head. So in my case, I don't have so much flexibility in my shoulders. So I prefer to have something underneath my hands so that my hands are somehow supported. So just really grab what you need to make this posture comfortable for you. And as you find the posture, release any tension in the jaw as well. Find a comfortable breath. Be aware of the flow of your breath. If you feel like your hands are separating, just cross the thumbs at the back. At some point, you can also interlace the fingers if you need to. And feel this kind of touch between the soles of the feet. Feel the skin on the soles of the feet. Feel this touch between the hands. And explore this touch also in the sacrum, which is rooted into the ground. In the area of the shoulder blades, the dorsal spine in contact with the ground. And just release the pelvic floor. Feel how the breath is moving into the lower abdomen. And with this particular pose, as the hands and the feet are joined, we're stimulating an internal circuit, no longer relating to the earth and the sky energies which flow through the open hands and feet. So just invite you to connect with this symbol of infinity printed onto the body, the central crossover point being in the second chakra, in the space of the lower belly. So as you breathe in, you can rise the energy from this point up towards the left arm, the left hand. As you breathe out, just imagine the energy flowing down, the right arm crossing over the lower belly into the left leg to left foot. Breathing in, rising from the right foot, crossing over the lower belly up towards the left hand. Breathing out from the right hand, crossing over the belly, down the left leg into the left foot. Continue using this as a meditative practice as well, guiding the flow of the breath, transferring this symbol of infinity into your body. Harmonizing. Do a couple more breaths like this. And as you finish, you can just lower the arms down towards the sides. Place the soles of the feet on the floor with the knees pointing upwards. Take a deeper breath and just relax. Feel the contact between the sacrum and the ground. I just want you to roll slightly the pelvis. So first of all, you bring the tailbone closer to the ground. The arch in the lower spine increases. And then just roll the sacrum back, lifting the pelvic bone and lowering the lumbar region to touch the ground. And just stimulate this very slow and rocking motion. And you'll see that although we're stimulating this rocking motion in the sacrum and the pelvis, as everything is connected, feel how the whole of the spine responds, the back of the head, even how the feet are related. And this is a very harmonizing movement as it stimulates the fluid which connects with the sacrum, with the cranium. Remember to keep the jaw and the tongue relaxed. And make this even smaller, even slower, seeing how it stimulates a good breath into the belly. At some point you prefer to breathe through the mouth, it's actually quite fine. And come back to a neutral position for you, whatever that may be in this moment. And just invite you to take a big yawn or two. And when you're done, you can roll over onto one side and come up into a sitting position, into a comfortable sitting position. I'm going to come forward just to be a little bit closer to the screen. Good. And so keep the eyes closed in this comfortable position. This very simple cross-legged position is called Sukh Asana. And this word Sukh also speaks to us of sweetness. So just allow yourself to be sweet and comfortable in this posture. And just really drop the awareness into this second chakra area. And maybe you can just also contrast with how this area felt at the beginning of the practice. What's changed for you? And just see what the tongue is doing. Invite the tongue to relax. It's a very curious animal. Just let it relax into the floor of the mouth. Connecting with this watery element. And just breathe into this pleasurable space. Allow it to be pleasant and pleasurable. Good. So before we lie down for the final relaxation, I'm just going to go very briefly into one of the ways of breathing which stimulates the second chakra. It's very much, as we've said, related to the mouth. And it's also related to cooling things down. Water cools us down. So this kind of breath is good when we have got too much heat in the body. So as we go into winter, it's probably not the best breath to be using. But if there is fever, it's very, very useful. And also just for healing purposes. So in this breath that we're going to do just for a few moments, we're going to breathe in through the nose, in through the mouth. This is how we cool our system. So we can do this by either just as if we were sucking in through a straw, or if you know how to roll your tongue. It's not not everyone can. We can just roll the tongue like this, so that we're breathing in very slowly during the in-breath. And we feel like we're drawing this fresh air in towards the second chakra, really bringing the air downwards as we breathe in. And when we breathe out, we're going to breathe out through the nose, just releasing any excessive heat in the body. So this is the idea with this exercise. We can feel that we're breathing in this watery element and breathing out any dryness. Yeah, so we'll just do it for a few moments. So you can gently place your hands on the lap for this exercise. We're maybe going to turn the palms upwards just to bring some more space into this breathing apparatus. So you can start. finish the round that you are doing, be still and calm and observant. There's no analysis, there's just a quality of being, of dwelling. And just connecting more fully once again with Swadhisthana, with this energy in the second chakra. And I invite you to lie down for the last few minutes of the class. So you can cover yourself with a blanket if you need to. And if you do have any delicate feelings or uncomfortable feelings in your lower spine, in the lumbar area, please place a rolled up blanket or bolster or something underneath your knees, just to keep the knees bent. This will keep the lower spine happier. Or a folded cushion under each knee. So your hands are facing upwards. And really come into the space of release, of relaxing, of also somehow abandoning the body. And this abandoning the body is not because it is not wanted. It's coming from this understanding that true restoring or rejuvenating of our system comes when we really release and we let go. And in this abandoning, this inner wisdom of our system can look back to its original blueprint for a reference point, for this deeper remembering of what balance really is. So as you lie down, just be aware of the breath. And I'd just like you to connect with this image of the water, specifically with the ocean. And you can connect with these very gentle waves of the ocean. And as you breathe in, just imagine this wave washing over your body up towards the head. And as you breathe out, just imagine or even feel somehow this wave brushing downwards towards your feet. So that this water is purifying, caressing the whole of the body. The water moves over and above you as you breathe in. The water pushes down and outwards as you breathe out. And so you're really bringing together this quality of intention, of presence, of prana, vital energy breath. And it's also caressing the body. And this caress is this self-care, this honoring of the body, of the mind, this embracing of the emotions, of really feeling that everything is welcome. The breath moving up, the breath moving down. And somehow the breath is not only contained within the body, there's moving upwards of the wave and there's moving downwards, is deeper and more expansive than this conception of the body space. So that somehow you can become the ocean, that the ocean is your body, that you are within the particle, and at the same time in this enormous expanse, this enormous body of water from where creation began. The ocean is also your womb, the womb from whence you came. The origin. And you can bring the awareness more specifically now in towards the body, in towards the lower abdomen, which you can feel rises and falls. Deepen the breath slightly. And as you breathe out, bring the awareness down the legs into the feet. And with the following breaths, feel the rising of the abdomen with the in-breath. And move the energy upwards and down into the arms and hands as you breathe out, bringing the energy back in towards the hands and the fingers. And on the following breaths, really drawing the energy upwards towards the head as you breathe out. until you feel again the whole of the body, this wonderful, relaxed body. And when you feel like you can wiggle your fingers and your toes, you can roll over to one side in this recovery position. And when it's good and spontaneous for you, come back to your sitting position. You can come a little bit closer to your screen. And just be aware of the sensations that come up now, and just harvest or reap the positive fruits of this practice. And you can bring one hand towards the heart space, the other hand towards the lower belly, harmonizing these two aspects. And cultivating this quality of loving kindness towards yourself. I'm going to close this practice by singing together Om once, and then we're going to sing Swaha to finish, which is all about this honoring from oneself towards life. Om. Swaha. Namaste. Thank you very much for sharing this practice. I have to say I'm quite happy that my internet connection didn't work downstairs, because it's been very nice to be out here, and hopefully thanks to the elements, you have also been here fully with me. So before we say goodbye, I'm just going to free to share maybe how you feel, something you've liked, or if there's any questions or difficulties that came up for you, we can have a quick space for integration. Can be more
No questions. I just enjoyed a lot. Thank you. It's very nice. I feel better now.
Wait, Jorge, I can't hear you.
I was saying I have no questions, but I must